All right, hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today we're going to be discussing about some of the dividends that Yieldmax has released on their Twitter. And what we're going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be taking all of my shares. We're going to be looking at how much YMAX is paying out, which was a significant drop, if you guys seen by the title of this video. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about why I think I seen this drop in YMAX and why YMAX is only going to be paying 11 cents for this week. To be honest, I'll also talk about my thoughts about this. Am I concerned? To be honest, I am not concerned because you know what? I've seen drops like this in YMAG as well. YMAG was the first to last week, or it was like 2 weeks ago, pay a 5-cent dividend, and they've already jumped back with a 20 to 21 cent dividend, something about there. So am I concerned for YMAX? No, but we're going to talk about that more in this video and why exactly it's paying this tiny dividend. So if that does sound good, if you're interested in anything YMAX or high dividends, or you're trying to make some money online, we're up to 6,049 subscribers, very close to 6,050 subscribers. So please do subscribe if you haven't yet done so. We're up to 413 subscribers in the past 28 days, so that is fantastic. And give this video a like if you guys do enjoy at any point, or it provides you some value, because that's what we're here to do. So we're talking about Yieldmax's dividends. They just released some dividends. Let's see what they got. We have PLTY. I'm actually not sure what PLTY is. Let me see what that is right here. If I pull that up, I shall go, if I can use my mouse. PLTY. DIPS is the NVDY or NVIDIA short. We don't really necessarily need that a ton. We can kind of just look at NVDY and get the opposite. But PLTY, boom. Let's see what we got here. We got Palantir, of course. Of course, it's Palantir. Cool. So Palantir paying a $2.20 dividend. I assume this would actually be the first dividend. Likely looking at the share price, this is probably a very new Yieldmax ETF going back to, it looks like October 8th. So October 8th, so it's been out for roughly a month. Usually we see the first dividend for the Yieldmax ETFs is the highest dividend, or a high dividend at least, because it can combine more than a month's worth of premiums. So that's something interesting to see there. NVDY is our next Yieldmax ETF. It paid, if I could find that, a dividend. Now I have to search up NVDY. Boom. NVIDIA pays a $1.02 dividend. Not a crazy dividend by any means. NVIDIA pays a lot bigger dividends generally. Speaking from the past, NVIDIA has been on a great track record. Of course, NVIDIA, the underlying stock, has been doing fantastic. But this is yet a smaller dividend for this ETF. We have DIPS, which I'm not really too sure about because I haven't been tracking. This is the NVDA kind of, it's a short. So basically whatever NVIDIA does, it goes one short on that. So it should theoretically do the opposite of NVDY, and you could use these two to offset each other and potentially earn some dividends without risking too much capital. I guess that's the kind of appeal of buying these. I might look to buy some of the inverse. Of course, you have TSLA and Crash, which I will likely not buy, but what I might look to buy is NVDY and DIPS. Next, we have FBY, Facebook. Facebook is one of the underrated Yieldmax ETFs. I mentioned that in one of my kind of like last video or second last video, something like that, where I talked about how FBY has, in terms of the past year, has done very well, only down about 3%, and has been paying roughly about a 40% dividend, as you can see here. Even year to date, the total return is about 39%. That is fantastic. Of course, you have to look at the underlying. Facebook is up almost 70 to 80% this year, but Facebook doesn't pay dividends. FBY offers you cash flow. That's kind of your trade-off there. But coming out with a 83-cent dividend, I think that is a very fair and very good dividend for FBY, because generally they pay a little bit less than that. So that is kind of cool to see. Our next dividend, BABO. And why am I talking about all these dividends? Because they all kind of play into YMAX, and I want to get to YMAX in a second, but we're talking about BABO just shortly with the 82.5-cent dividend, and this is Alibaba's Yieldmax ETF. So they go on BABA, and so far I'm pretty sure this is another new ETF. You could see here, if we zoom all the way out to the 1 year, you can see that they started in early August as well. So another Yieldmax ETF that is kind of just on the come up. Yieldmax continues to bring in new ETFs, and I love that because YMAX invests, or at least holds, and is invested in the price returns of all these Yieldmax ETFs. So we could see here that under their groups, you have group A, B, C, D. This is group B that we're checking out right here in the middle, right above here. So these ETFs should theoretically contribute to YMAX's dividend. So why do we see basically a 12-cent dividend for YMAX? I kind of attribute that if we look at the past 5 days for each of these ETFs. In the early portion of the week, sure, we've seen a huge run up at the end, but I don't believe this past day where we had these crazy run-ups, which really boosted our portfolios, I don't think that had a play into YMAX's dividend. What I do think had a play was early on in the week, there was not very much volatility. I can show this for pretty much all of these stocks. We go to FBY, pretty much flat the entire way through. We see as well, we go to the 5 days for GDXY, flat the entire way through. And we go to Babo, very interesting, flat all the way through. So I think the fact that a lot of the underlyings for Group B were completely flat throughout the past week contributes to the small dividend in YMAX. Once again, we've seen a dividend that was about 5 cents in YMAG before, and it really didn't impact the ETF as much. I honestly thought it was good. I think it gives a little bit of a break so that YMAX can almost boost its current capital, or a better way to say it is its current share price, maintain their share price, and kind of get a break from paying the high dividends for a week or two, and then get pretty much right back to it. That's the way that I see it. I see it as an opportunity for the share price to rise a little bit. And I do think YMAX is absolutely going to go back to paying dividends once again that are about this 20-cent range like YMAG. So the last thing that I want to talk about, and what maybe you've been waiting for, 815 shares, 20 shares. I have 835 shares. Let's see exactly how much I am going to be receiving this week, not this month, but this week in dividends. And the funny thing about this is I keep buying more and more YMAX shares. And now, because I bought so much, now the dividend, of course, has dropped significantly. So let's see what exactly we're going to receive. So we're actually only going to receive about $100 worth of dividends. So not a huge marker by any means. In terms of this, the reason why as well I'm not a huge fan when the dividend drops is just because when the dividend drops, that means, of course, look, our share price is not going to drop as much, but then we can't buy back at better prices. If we could buy back at better prices and get more for our money, I'd rather do that. But for the current time being, totally cool. I'm going to continue to hold, going to continue to invest in YMAX for the long term and collect my dividends and look to boost my weekly and monthly income, and we shall go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If it gave you value, give this video a like. Just kind of going over why I think YMAX is paying a small dividend, just because we didn't really see too much movement in the underlying over the past week. And of course, a Yieldmax strategy, synthetic cover call strategy, generates premiums off of volatility in underlying stocks, and when we don't see too much, we don't get too much in dividends, is my assumption. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. I hope you guys do stick around, stay with me on my journey. Please join me, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.